Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Marketing Podcast, your source for all things marketing. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at @AdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Gary Siegel on the line. He's VP of Business Development over at Tangerine Promotions. Gary, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adam. Great to be here.
So excited to get into today's topic. So we're going to talk about your experience in sourcing PPE. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into what you're doing over at Tangerine Promotions. So first, tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Thanks, Adam. So Tangerine Promotions was founded in 2002, and our core business at the time was primarily branded premiums and POS, so point-of-sale merchandise. We were acquired in December of 2017 by a company out of LA called BAMCO, B-A-M-K-O. They focus on large imports for a different type of customer than what we were servicing. We are actually all owned and under the umbrella by Superior Group of Companies. Superior is a publicly traded company on NASDAQ. They've been around for 100 years, sourcing uniforms for everything from hospitals to airlines. And that really is what opened our minds to our capability in the medical space and being able to help the country and frankly the world in this time of need right now.
Man, and I think that's a great transition. Let's just get right into the topic. So your experience in sourcing PPE. I mean, where do you want to start with that one?
So PPE, we quickly realized, was in dire need everywhere in America. Everything from health institutions, medical networks, food service providers, everybody that falls under the umbrella of essential workers. And there was a dire shortage, as everybody knows if you're watching CNN at all. And we decided to completely pivot our sourcing and use our capabilities around the globe, whether it's our domestic operations or our sourcing offices in China, and see if we could help. We personally send our own employees to vet factories in China, so we know exactly what we're providing. One of the reasons why we do this is because of Superior owning us. We are an FDA certified supplier of PPE. So we're not working with any brokers or anybody that's playing middleman. We're going directly to the source, which is extremely important at a time like this because there's so much misinformation out there that we want to be a point of truth. We want to be able to help and get the proper equipment into the people on the front lines battling every day to stop the virus. It's sort of like the wild, wild west out there right now, Adam. You have everybody competing for production time. And, you know, we're able to stay at the front of the line with these factories for a couple of reasons. Number one, our volumes are high. And number two, we're willing to prepay. What people don't realize, if you don't go in there with these types of strategies, the smaller orders get pushed down the list. And my fear is that you have some local hospitals or smaller health systems placing smaller quantities with brokers or people that claim to be able to have shorter lead times and get product in their hands quickly. And in 3, 4, 5 weeks, we're going to see people that were expecting orders to deliver not getting those deliveries. And that's where we're really trying to come in and be a source of fact for government institutions and large hospital networks out there so they understand exactly what's going on the front lines. Typically, we could bring in some cargo on commercial airlines to speed up the process. That's just not a viable option right now. So we're out there educating the marketplace on what it takes to get product made and what it takes to get product shipped. And it's complex and changing every day. And we're just trying to do our part.
Let's talk a little bit more about the shortages and kind of some of the things that you're seeing on a day-to-day. Because I mean, you're in the middle of all this stuff with the company, the size of the company you're with the pedigree of what you've done. I mean, in this shift. I mean, thank you for making time to take this call.
You know, getting the word out there, Adam, is half the battle. I watch CNN constantly right now. It's on in the background in between a multitude of calls throughout the day. And the one consistent thing, probably over 75% of the interviews, people are in need of PPE. The problem is there's such a disconnect right now between the actual demand and the supply. There's just so much cloudiness around the supply that the demand is having a hard time filtering through the information and getting to the truth. If I were CNN or if I were in that type of position, I would be vetting 2 or 3 suppliers in a region on a regional basis or per state and putting those contacts on the scroll at the bottom of the screen on CNN, so you don't have governors on there spending their time and their staff's hours vetting suppliers. There's not many in the industry that are bringing in the type of volume that we are and are doing it as efficiently as we are. And I just wish that there was a better vehicle in place to get that into the inboxes of the people that need that information and are able to pull the trigger on a quick decision.
No, it makes so much sense, and it's really trying to get that whole supply chain figured. And they're doing the best they can. And the shame is what you mentioned, that they maybe have some orders or some things out there that in 4 or 5 weeks it's just not going to happen for them, and they didn't know, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? There's just, and it's nobody's fault. There's just a disconnect. There's just a disconnect in the supply chain, which is one of the reasons why we waited several days before we started offering these products, because we wanted to have the complete supply chain buttoned up from the factory through the import. And then obviously you're just looking at a single delivery to a domestic location. But if you're not careful, there could be a lot of different hands touching the order through every step. And at a time like this, it's very, very easy for things to get lost and mistakes to be made. So we put a ton of resources through our entire company. We have over 80 people completely committed and dedicated to sourcing PPE.
So, Gary, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information, what's the best way for them to get that?
It's either email or my phone. My email is GaryS@tangerinepromotions.com. Or my office phone, which rings through to my cell like everybody these days, is 847-313-6009.
Man, that's awesome. Well, hey, Gary, great catching up with you again, and great to hear that you're out there making a difference and really manning the phones and getting things done on getting that PPE out to where the places that they need to go to in as fast a timely manner as possible. So thank you for all your great work there. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, and if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Marketing, definitely give us a subscribe there and let us know what kind of things you're working on. Love to know what kind of businesses you got going on. And Gary, thanks again for coming back on the show.